Assalamu alaikum, my name is Salim Siddiqui, and you're watching the HotConflict.com series, on the importance of Eid al-Adha, the great celebration of the Muslims. As we said, we're doing a video series on the importance of the great Eid celebration, the great Muslim festival. As you know, Muslims all over the world have gathered together to pray and bow their head to the Lord and worship the Lord Most High all over the planet Earth. And at the same time, as it so happens that the Muslims are doing what you know is called the Hajj, and the holy house in Mecca, where they are going around the holy house and gathering for the annual pilgrimage, some 4 or 5 million Muslims. And we're talking about the importance of this great celebration. And we're telling you the story of the truth. And we're telling it to you in a strange way. As you know, on the HotConflict.com website, we tell you stories in a strange way, in a way that you never heard before. And so from here on, as I have sworn, I am going to give you the tale, and it's going to be stranger than you've ever heard before. I'm going to give you the truth like it's never been spoken in your own tongue by the English language, and I am giving you the story so that you understand it. Now, if the story is true, it should explain everything and all of your questions, and you should be able to see the signs that we have spoken of. But let's continue in the situation where we left off exactly from the last video. We are at a strange or dark time on this planet we called Earth. We said focus on the one truth, that our race, the sons of Adam, are in a war of the light versus the darkness. We are trying to keep hold of the truth of the light, that there is only one God. And this is the truth that your father Adam was trying to tell you. And we followed our chain down the chains of stories. And we followed our prophets, and we reiterate the fundamentals. The fundamentals have always been the same. That there is only one God. He created the angels with wings and beautiful out of light. They have no free will and they do not disobey. But another creation he made are the jinns, and perhaps there are many species which we know of and some we do not. They are made of smokeless fire in various forms. And we've talked about some of the descriptions of that, so we'll go back and listen to that if you don't understand that yet. But the story must get more strange, so pay attention. The fundamentals are that the Lord would send messengers to you speaking the word in a way that was clear to tell you the truth with the word of the Lord. And that all of the children of Adam, when they live, they are to search for this truth, and that all of the children of Adam die, and that you have a soul, and that you will all be raised and judged by the one and only judge who has created you, me, and this world, and everything in it, and anyone in it. And you will be punished and rewarded because of your faith and the actions that you raised. And there is a heaven and there is a hell, and your soul shall live in eternity and everlasting. And we said the final fundamental is that all of this is destined and planned by the will of Allah, and nothing is coincidental. So if you understood where we are and understood the fundamentals, then you see the desolate nature of the world. And what is happening is that nowhere on the earth is the remembrance of the true Lord, and nobody is holding clearly the true word that God has last sent. The children of Israel have what they have left from Solomon and David and the Psalms and the books that they had, and Moses and the commandments. And all of the Muslims who say we are Muslims will tell you, as the fundamentals of faith have told us, we believe in every one of the true books from the Lord. That is the fundamental of the faith. And we believe in every single one of the prophets that came, because that is the fundamentals of faith. All those who call themselves Muslims mean they have submitted to the truth of the light of the Lord. And Islam means in Arabic to submit to the truth of the light of the Lord. And what is it that you are hearing? You are hearing for the first time the story of the truth of the light in your own language, ladies and gentlemen. And so from this moment on, you are going to hear a tale that is so strange. And so I say as a warning, whether you call yourself a Muslim by name, or a Hindu, or a Jew, or a Christian, or say that you are a Satan worshiper, or anything else, you are being given the tale for the first time. The truth of the light in your own English language. And as I've told you, these names have not mattered to me as much as the reality that we are the descendants and sons of Adam, the human race on this planet. Have you been listening to the story? Now, if you've paid attention to the signs and you've understand the fundamentals, and you understand what is going on in the earth, then you must be seeing something in the way that the tale is told. We know that at this point there is turmoil on the lands, and nowhere is the true word being practiced. And nowhere is there a house of God upon the last true light. And this is a problem on the earth. But as I've been telling the tale, oh, praise and glory be to God, you know that the story of the truth must come to an end. And the tale must bring a final act. Well, we're not at the very final act, as we all know. But we're coming to one of the indicators that there is something significant going on in the story, a part so dramatic that you've ever understood the way a story is told, then you'll see the importance of what is about to happen. Jesus, the Son of Mary, the last true prophet of the light, has ascended. And that there is a sign of what must come. And that there is a sign of what must come. So what is happening on the earth? What is happening on the earth, as I said, is there is misguidance. And the forces of darkness, as this is a battle between light versus dark, have gotten control of this planet that we call Earth. And so at this moment, we are saying that the fundamental story has always been what? That the descendants of the true line have been trying to maintain the only fundamental, that there is only one God. And although Jesus tried to teach his people that, and so did Solomon, and so did David and Moses and all the prophets before, and all the prophets told the truth, and many of their people followed the truth of the light, and time as it is corrupts all things. And as a Muslim, I am saying this, that obviously anybody watching this in this day and age knows that of the Muslim, there are sons of Adam. Some of them are great, some of them are low. I am not here to defend anybody from my community, but just to tell the story of the truth of the light. And so the names and the categories no longer truly matter, but the story of the truth really does. So it should be clear in a story, if a change is going to happen, we should see a sign. Now, how bad is the situation? We said that we go back and understand if the story is always told, it is told by the fundamental. That the bearer of the truth on this planet was the great father Abraham, who said, I want from my descendants to be bearers of the light, to make sure that on this earth, the worship of the Lord still exists. My Lord, he said, is the one who gives life and takes life, the only true Lord, the Lord who created you and me and everything in this universe. And with that, he and his noble firstborn son, Ishmael, built the great and holy house in Mecca. We're back to the beginning of the tale. Why? Because we're coming towards the end of the story. So we saw what happened. Let's talk about Ibrahim and remind us of the story again. That Ibrahim, the great and noble prophet, went through some rough times. If you don't remember the story of Ibrahim, go back to the beginning and listen how we have talked about the pure heart of the light of the great Abraham. He had a blessed noble wife named Sarah. She was great of the people, of a noble lineage and status. And Abraham wanted more than anything else to have offspring, more sons, to increase the race, to worship the Lord. But Sarah could not have children. And so Abraham married Hagar, a dark-skinned of Egypt, of Africa. And from her, Allah, God the Most High, blessed Abraham with the son Ishmael. And we go back to the story. And since then I told you, Sarah had Isaac. And Isaac was also a great and noble prophet. And Jacob was a noble prophet. And the tribes and the sons of Jacob and Joseph were all noble bearers of the truth. And the continuation of the line and bearers of the truth have continued in our tale and continued in our tale. To Moses and David and Solomon and Jesus, son of Mary, as all those on the earth who are searching for the light are witness to the truth of. But I said something dramatic must happen. Something dramatic must happen. At this point, we said the earth was a dark place. Can you imagine that in Mecca, the holy cities, the mother of cities, that city where Abraham took his son Ishmael and went through the trials that he did in the story? He built a house. Abraham, the great father, built a house by his own hand. A noble, noble thing. With his son, Ishmael, also a believer, as was tested in this story, and we know, as is witnessed by the tale. And so at this time on the earth, would you imagine that at the Kaaba, the holy house, it is surrounded by idols. Pagan rituals of all kinds. Around the holy house, within the holy house, people worshiping in the worst way all of the graven images. I said to you the story was so strange. The strangeness of the story is always so strange that when you hear it, you can't believe that this is the story, but it is always the truth. The great and noble house that Abraham built with his own hands, with his noble son and bearers of the light, Ishmael, was surrounded by pagans in the worst of situations. Now, anybody who tells you about the Arabs of that time can tell you that, like all civilizations that we've seen on the earth, they go up and they go down. And sometimes there are civilizations and times and periods and places where the people are so lost and so evil. And the armies of darkness have corrupted them so much that they have so lost their way. Now, it is at this point in the story that I must make the caveat again. I am promising to tell you the truth of the light, to answer the questions that you have been wondering about everything, your whole life. But I have to say, with all honesty, as a person who bears the burden of giving you now, for the first time, the true tale, and I'm saying this on purpose, as Allah, the Lord Most High, is my witness. I know what I'm speaking of today. That I must admit, as just a son of Adam, having weaknesses and faults and sins, that I cannot, and I'm not telling you everything, because from this point on of knowledge, there is so much truth of the light that I cannot explain to you everything. There is so much information. And the tale that I have told you already has gotten so long that I fear those who don't have patience to listen to the truth will get lost. And so I've warned you. But if you are willing to listen to the truth, the beauty of the light that you are going to hear is so incredible that if you've never listened to a tale, and if you're listening still, and if you're hearing my voice, and listening to these words that are transmitted to you in this strange way by video, you're going to hear something amazing. The evilness around the Kaaba is so dark and so corrupt that there are strange practices everywhere. Evil, blackness, spilling of blood, disgusting abominations, orgies and sex, the killing of humans and newborns, the sacrificing of children, darkness of magic and evil that Satan has not sent in a place that we have seen. The disgusting nature of the truth is so horrible that I cannot give you all of the details. The story is so strange. And as I've told you, when a tale of the truth, a story of the truth, is actually told to people, you can always go and see the information for yourself and look it up. But the time that I'm talking about is so dark and so evil. The Arabs were master traders and advanced and blessed by having the caravans run through their ways. And this is important. And because of that, they had gotten information from so many of the lands. And people from all over the world were traveling through these caravans, telling stories of all the different places. And the people of Arabia who spoke Arabic became masters of communication. Masters of understanding the word. They knew how to speak and tell things in a way that was more beautiful than any other civilization. They were so advanced in the knowledge of the word that it became an amazing thing just for people to come and see the great pilgrimages of the evil sacrifices and pagan gods, and to listen to the people speaking stories and poetry and tales. I told you the story could only be stranger than anything you've ever heard. As I'm telling you a tale that is stranger in your own tongue, in the English language, stranger than you've ever heard. I'm telling you we're at a place of the most ugly darkness. Yet strangely they have this amazing gift of being able to speak in a way that is more beautiful than possibly any of the children of Adam have ever spoken. Are you paying attention to the signs of the truth of the word I am telling you? For it is stranger even yet, and when I get to the end of the tale, as if Allah, the Lord Most High, the only one who gives life and takes life, allows me to live and complete this task, then you will know the truth like no one has ever told it to you, ever in this language that I speak called English. My mother tongue. My mother tongue. But I get ahead of myself. And excuse me, like I said, I may get emotional because I'm talking about the truth of the light. Now, a strange situation is going on. Strangely, at this house, where there is all kinds of pagan gods and evil rituals, statues for every single day of the week and every single day of the year. For every star and every evil sign and every symbol, there is a god that they have created out of their own misguidance. As we told you, in the war between light and darkness, the darkness always lies to you about God. And those who tell you the truth of the light can never lie to you about God. It goes against the very truth of our story that our father Adam, we said, understood from that very first moment that jinn, that other race, did something abominable, as you understand the tale. He lied to him about God. So no person who ever claims to be Muslim or believing in the true light will ever lie about God. That is the most abominable thing, and as I swear to you before the Lord Most High, I will never lie about God. A'udh billah min dhalik. Please, Allah, have mercy on me. But I'm giving you the caveat. I'm swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth. So help me, God. Because now things are about to get strange. Because if anything I've told you so far is true, then now it's time we hear the rest of the story. There's a little reference to you in your own language. The dramatic nature of the rest of the story. Well, to show you what's so wrong, is that around the holy house that Abraham and his son Ishmael built, surprisingly of surprises, Allah, the Lord Most High, is still being worshipped. If you ask the evil Arabs of that time, some of them, there were still a little bit few of those people who still knew Allah, the one big God. They called him the great God, the Lord of all gods. He was still being mentioned in this holy house, amazing as that may seem. And it's an important part of this story, because we've said that if the next chapter is true, something dramatic must happen. And so what happens is a sign. Now, we've said that the fundamental is always to go back. That there's only one God, La ilaha illallah. He has made angels and he has made jinns and then he has made man. And man is the greatest of races. And there will be prophets sent, all bearing truth of the word, and you are going to live if you are a son of Adam, and you are going to die as all things live and die, as Allah has made everything in this universe. Allah is above all of that. He is the Lord Most High. And everything in this world should, always should, worship the Lord. And the fundamentals continue that your soul will be raised and you will be judged, and life everlasting in heaven or hell. And all of this, we said, is by the plan of the Lord. And so we get to the end, or the next part of the dramatic story, which must be magnificent. From the descendants of Ishmael, still of the noble lineage, is a leader in Mecca. He is in charge of this city. This is the only house on the earth where the name Allah is still being worshipped. And still many people come from all over the earth to come and pray to this holy house of the Lord, even though the corruption and misguidance is there, as I've told you. Abraha, a king in another part of the earth, some would say in Africa, is wanting to build a great temple so that people come to him to worship his gods. And he wants to build and erect a huge temple, and he does. As we said, many people have built and erected places to the worship of the true Lord, and only is it of the truth of the light is when it is true, as Solomon's temple was a great place. Right? We went through the story of Solomon, and if you don't understand the beauty and the deepness of the story of Solomon and some of the mysteries that it should answer for you, then go back and listen to the tale, because perhaps you're not paying attention to the signs. Abraha wanted to have this great temple and know that everybody was going to come to his temple. And he built it. As they say, if you build it, they will come. But that's not true. If you build it, they don't always come. Unless you have the truth for someone to come to. A temple to a false god is useless. A symbol or a sign to a false god is useless. A statue or a cross to a false god is useless. It is only the truth of the light that matters. He built the temple, but they did not come. And so he got very upset and thought, this house of God that is there, the Kaaba, I will destroy it. It must be wiped off the face of the earth. And so, what did he do? He sent his army with huge beasts and elephants to come to try and actually bulldoze the house of God from the earth. But I told you the story has to be strange. It has to be stranger than anything you've ever heard. That even though in this corrupt place, in this strange land where all kinds of new pagan rituals had started to occur, that still there were a few, just a handful perhaps, that still were believing that there was only one true God, and that the name Allah, the Lord Most High, as one of his great names, Allah, the God, and we said that is the term for the God. Even Christians use that term for their God, and even the pagan Arabs, before that which we term Islam now, used to refer to the main God as Allah, the God, even though they had begun such strange practices. The story must be so dramatic and strange that Abraha comes to attack the holy house in Mecca, and the man in charge, the man in charge of defending the city and taking care and protecting the city, what does he do? He just leaves and tells everyone to leave. Let the army come. Let the army come. We don't need to defend the house of the Lord. The most ludicrous thing you've ever heard. But I told you this place was important, and if you've been listening to the story, you must know why it is important For Abraham, the believer in the true light of the Lord, built this very house with his own hand. Yet the man in charge lets it go. We don't need to protect it, he says. And so the army arrives to destroy the holy house.